Requests from stakeholders. During your first month of work as a project manager, you spend some time to get to know some of the key external stakeholders. You know it is important that you build good relationships to keep them supporting the project. You receive a visit from one of these key stakeholders. He is the representative of the beneficiaries whom you have met before. He mentions that some members of the community agree that it will be a good idea to convert two of the planned houses into a common social area. Since none of the houses has been built yet, this will be a good time to ask and avoid the cost of having to change one of the houses later. You're happy to attend his request, and you politely ask him if he can give you a justification for the change, but he replies that the last time he asked for a change, it was approved without the need for justification, and he thought this time will be the same. After all, the previous project manager was very open for a change he requested last time. You tell him that since you're now the project manager, you will take note of this request and review it with the team and the donor, since it may have other implications to the scope, schedule, and budget. You ask him for patience while you analyze the change. This situation has created a concern to you, and you have some questions you need to ask the team. What was the process used to manage changes in the past? Is there a change log that tracks the status of these changes? What you are concerned is that if there are changes that have been approved, but no analysis was made on the impact to the schedule and the budget, you decide to contact the project assistant to help you answer some of these questions. The change control log. In your meeting with the project assistant, you find out that there is a change log that was used to enter basic information of all the requests for changes. She mentions that the log has 3 new requests that were made before you joined the project, and they all are waiting for your decision. The first request is for a small change in the roof designed to increase security during high winds and keep up with the new country regulations. The request came from the government official who supervises the construction of the houses to ensure they are built according to the agreements with the government. The change in the design doesn't have a significant impact on the budget and will require a 1 day to make the changes in the plans. One benefit of this change is that it could reduce the time to build the houses by 2 weeks. The second request is for assigning more radios to the volunteers working the project. This is a request from the security director who wants to make sure all the volunteers can contact the security officer during their stay in the country. The additional cost of this request is $500. The third request is for an increase of the landscaping area to add a cricket field for the village children to play. This request comes from the volunteer representative. The additional cost of this request is estimated at $1,000 and may take 5 days to complete. The idea is to have a place where the volunteers and the children can play during the weekends. You add the last request made by the beneficiary representative. Now you have 4 requests that need immediate action. But before you decide on these requests, you organize a meeting with the project team to learn about the process that was used to manage changes in the past. The change control process. You tell the team at the meeting that it's an opportunity to review the change control process and that you need to know how it was used in the past. You tell them about the visit you received from the beneficiary representative and that he mentioned that the previous request he made was approved without submitting any justification. You review with the team the request for changes made in the last 3 months, and all of them have been approved and are now closed. The changes are not significant. The changes did not add much time to the project, and due to the savings in new cost estimates in the budget, there is actually a surplus of $500. But there is one change that had a cost of $1,500 that was not part of the original scope. Adding more work to the survey to include the area for the new hospital does not contribute to the objective of the project. The team doesn't remember how that request was approved, but they agree that the additional work was not part of the original scope. You ask the team about the process that was used to approve and implement the changes in the past. They mentioned that initially the changes were registered, but there was no follow-up, and later changes were just coming via email or phone calls. Changes were approved by the project manager, especially for key stakeholders, as a way to build good relationships with them. You ask the team if stakeholders use the change request form and what process the team used to prioritize requests. The team had no answer. Review of the project change log. After the meeting with the team, you review the change log with the 8 entries. Based on your past experience, you notice some deficiencies in the use of this tool. You notice that the column for the status date is empty. This information is useful to determine the time it takes to close a request from the moment it was submitted. This can also help identify problems in the process to analyze, approve, and implement the changes. Of all the changes approved, you notice that the owner of the change request is the project manager. That meant that the project manager took the additional responsibility to manage the change and communicate the results. Finally, the column for priority should contain information on how important is the change for the project. This is critical information that can help make a better decision and can be helpful in case there is an audit of the project. From your analysis, it seems that the project manager made all the decisions without consulting the team. You decide to include more information on the change control log. The column for priority should now be mandatory and will use the following criteria: high priority, medium priority, and low priority.